people, they're more skeptical. They want to see more parts of you.
I feel like they want to see the multifaceted
Yes,
part
exactly.
of us.
There was almost a year where I had insomnia because I was so scared of like how the finances was going to work.
Perceived competence is actually more important than real competence.
Huh.
You can change your identity and you just really have to tap into that emotion and hold that vision.
Welcome back to another episode of Small Girl, Big Talk. I'm your host, Wendy, and this podcast is a space where real conversations meet personal growth. In today's episode, I have the pleasure of having my friends Nicole from Canada and Rae from Singapore to really be here in person in my cozy living room. And we had a very good conversation diving into manifestation, into having that vision of the identity that you want to step into, and really the honest conversation about how tough entrepreneurship and also being a creator can be. Like, we often look at things so beautifully on the outside, like we feel like, oh, they've got it all together. But I felt like this conversation that we had was a good blend of how beautiful things can be if you are willing to put in the work, if you are willing to step into that discomfort. I hope this episode inspires you to be confident enough to give yourself that chance to go towards that change and the growth that you want for yourself. So without further ado, I hope you enjoyed this conversation. Yes, we are ready to kickstart. You girls look so good, by the way. Thanks for coming.
You look so fabulous in your house.
Right?
I know.
So
Finally,
cute.
you girls are at the set of
The
Small
set.
Girl.
Finally, we see it.
How do I look? I think I look okay. I think I look fabulous too.
I can't even tell.
Fabulous.
Okay. Yeah, I think let's just get right into it, right? You know what I love about us and our relationship is the fact that all of us, we put our work out on the internet. And then we connected online first.
Yeah.
Right? Is that how the both of you met too?
Yes, this is literally the second time we're meeting in person.
Okay.
Right? The first time was in Vegas when we went to a workshop held by our business mentor. And that was our first time ever meeting. We met on the internet and we connected over a book.
Yeah.
Right? About systems and regenerative farming. Basically.
Oh wow, that is some really
very
deep book.
specific, very specific. But I think that's the power of putting your work out there before you even think you have supporters.
Yes.
Right? Because when you put your philosophy, your work, your beliefs out there, you're like bearing a little bit of yourself, but you're also creating opportunity for people, the right people to connect with you.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's how I met both of you.
Yeah.
Like literally.
And that's how this podcast was started as well. Like, when I had the idea to do a podcast, I actually didn't know then, like, what niche did I really want to do? Because right before that, I've been in the coaching industry for so long, and the tip is always to like niche down and niche down. But I felt so limited into a box. And when I started the podcast, I just knew that the intention is to share more about life, that people don't feel so alone in their own journey. Like, that was like the main overarching idea. And over time, I feel like the more I talk about things, the more I invite guests onto the show, then I start attracting a certain group of people, right? And that's how you discovered me too, right, Nicole? Like, that's how, yeah.
Oh, it was on another podcast. I was listening in and I was like...
It was Cheryl's show, right?
It was.
No, was it not the episode that Cheryl was on my podcast? Or was
I
it?
think it was you were on her podcast because I listened to her podcast.
Okay.
I love listening to her guests because and her conversations because I know that whoever she brings on, she filters and makes sure they're aligned. So I was listening to you and I was like, this girl's pretty cool. Okay, I'm gonna shoot her on DM. Let's follow her on Instagram.
Yeah. When you messaged me and like I stalked you on like Instagram and YouTube too, and I was like, yeah, I get it. Like, I get it. Then.
This podcast the title is Girls Making the First Move, basically.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true. Let's go, girls. But you know what? Interestingly enough, like when I started off, like I was actually niching down. Like I started off because I was like, I'm gonna make money and I need an out of my 9-to-5 job. And so I wasn't really thinking, like obviously in the back of my hand, I was like, I'd love to like build some sort of connection, but the forefront was really, let me build this business, let me niche down, talk about stock investing, personal finances. But I think like over time, as you do that, you also feel disconnected. And I start to feel like, no, I want to actually share more of myself and I want to like attract actually aligned people, because I was attracting not really the right people because they were only interested in like the money and like very specific things, masculine things, and I wasn't fully aligned. So after I made that shift, started opening myself up, I started meeting more cool people like you too.
Yeah, I think like if you were to just stick to like your finance content, right, I might not have connected with you that well. I'll be like, oh, this girl's so serious. Like I would probably feel that way, right?
Yeah, I was so different online actually too. I didn't like how it showed up.
Oh,
I feel like the world is shifting. Like we're starting to realize that each and every one of us have so many different parts.
yes.
And all those parts are valuable, right? Like gone are the days where we only show one side of ourselves in a professional environment and then people respect you just for that one side. Now people they're more skeptical. They want to see more parts of you.
I feel like they want to see the multifaceted
yes,
parts
exactly.
of us.
Exactly.
And that's because like we're just sick of everything being so polished and so well branded, right?
Because that's
Exactly.
not humans. Like humans are literally meant to just be naturally, authentically ourselves.
Yeah,
so
and I feel like with
true.
more AI generated content out there, it makes us crave this humanness even more now.
Yes. It's like what is real?
Yeah.
And I'll only know if it's real if I can sense your humanity within your stories and your essence and your multifaceted nature.
Yes.
Yeah.
I literally look for mistakes. It's like when they're talking and they're like, wait, hold up. And they're like making these little mistakes where it typos. Like that's the way you can tell they're actually writing the stuff.
Yes.
Oh.
It's not AI.
Yeah. That's what I started doing with my newsletter as well. Like sometimes I just leave the imperfection there because I was like, it's okay. It sounds more like me. It just feels more like me. But anyway, so in like as we are talking about this humanness, right? I feel like what I really enjoyed just meeting you girls for the first time, like last weekend, is the fact that even though the three of us come from like different parts of the world, like I mean, Rae and I are just closer. We're like neighbors, right? Singapore and
Malaysia, Canada.
Yeah, but like Nicole, you're like all the way so far. But even though you have like Bruneian roots as well, like it's interesting that even though we grew up in such different environment and different background, that because we have shared values and shared beliefs, like it was so easy for us to connect. Like I felt like it was almost instant that I felt like I already knew you girls for very long. Like I didn't need to put up a fake facade to like connect with you girls. Yeah. And like I think it's also because the day that we met is the day that you girls hosted the Matcha and Manifest event here in KL.
Yes.
So I would say like even prior to that, a lot of the work that you both post online, it's like tied to your niche or your service, right? Rae, your program is like Own Your Voice. You're a public speaking coach. So I've saw more of that part of you online. And with Nicole, it's like you're helping like 9-to-5ers build a side hustle, especially like on a creative side, right? Yeah, so like I've seen the work that you've both done, but I actually didn't know that you both are so into like manifestation and matcha as well. Like, wait, is matcha both of your thing or like one of your things?
I think it just rhymes, to be honest.
It's so nice. I also want to use that name already.
She
it's
drinks
such a
coffee.
nice.
I drink hot water.
Yeah.
But we do
This
drink matcha.
poor Nicole drank like half an hojicha during Matcha Manifest and couldn't sleep at night.
Yeah, I heard she
Literally.
slept at 5
I
a.m.
did. I
It's
was
so
literally
bad.
just awake and I was like, damn, like Rae just enjoying her sleep there.
I think I don't talk about manifestation a lot using that word. Maybe a part of me is like, I'm worried that people will think, when you use the word manifest, it means that you need to be someone that has created something super big, or it means that you're super into spirituality, which I am. But I felt maybe a little bit scared that people will label me as that and then make me feel like I need to know my shit in manifestation. But actually, I feel like I've been manifesting since I was like 15, you know? Yeah, I just don't use that word manifest, right? And I think maybe people who are listening in, you probably have been manifesting already every single day. You just don't realize it.
Yeah, I get what you mean by like not being like dare to share use that word so much online, because there's a lot of different judgment to it. It can feel very woo-woo for people who don't understand it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And then if they see, you're using the word manifestation, where's your proof, right?
But there's so much proof, the work that you're doing.
I get exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we even created Matcha Manifest in the first place, is to have people realize that they have the power to manifest and it's possible. In fact, they're already manifesting their life today, and how can you take it to the next level?
And I think we also used that word because we want to draw in the right people again.
Yes.
We were like, you know what, the right people hearing that word, they're not going to feel weird and feel like, oh, you guys are too woo-woo. They're like, no, like these are my people. Like we do believe in the power of like a higher being in like aligning our energetic wavelength and our intentions. And so we put that out there and look at the people we attracted. Like we attracted some pretty awesome people.
Every single person was perfect. Energetically, they were all like on the same wavelength. People came as strangers, and by the end of it, people were hugging.
I know. Like everything about the event felt perfect.
Yeah.
Like even the fact that like the location that you guys originally sourced did not work out, and you had to scramble and find, like you only secured the spot the day off, like the morning off, right?
Basically.
But that space turned out so perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was such a beautiful space. It suits the vibe. The music that they play in the background, it was like, oh yes, this fits the mood.
Yeah.
And even the matcha drinks, like I'm a matcha lover, and like because it happened at like in the evening about 4 p.m, right? And they have this drink. I ordered a mango, like a passion fruit or mango fizzy matcha, which is like so refreshing, so perfect, and it's yummy. Like everything about the event is perfect.
Before this event, Rae and I went to a couple of networking events.
Okay.
Like we were like, let's try them out. Let's talk to a couple of people in KL. And these events were like the people there, I would say we kind of left feeling a little drained. Like we were like, I don't feel like these were my people. And it just really felt like, for example, like some of the people there, you could really feel they had this needy proving energy. Like they were trying to prove, hey, my startup, oh, I'm doing this and I'm doing AI, I'm so cool. And it just felt really like off-putting, and we kind of left that feeling like, ugh. And then when we had our event, you know, this is the power of really being yourself and putting yourself out there. I was really happy. I was like so fascinated by the people we met, and we did a good job.
Yeah, you both did so well.
It was a very diverse bunch. I mean, we had a couple of people from the crypto AI space.
Yes.
We have people from different walks of life, different ages, but each and every one of them, they had this abundant and expansive energy. And if I were to really think like, I mean, people might go like, how do you attract such a bunch of people? Right? Even the previous event that I hosted with another friend, Ashvin, and Nicole spoke at, Ashvin was telling me, well, you managed to bring together some of the, he calls it, I quote, top performers in Malaysia to come.
Wow.
Because he was very impressed. I mean, obviously, he's probably been to a couple of these events, and there was a product designer that came for our event as well. And then he said, you know, I've been to so many like tech founder events. Not many events are like yours where you really focus on our common humanity and human connection, human stories.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he enjoys. And then I'm thinking, okay, how did this even happen? I think number one is, like you mentioned, putting your work out there.
Yeah.
And I think number two is the way that the words feel on the landing page.
Okay.
Like when I created the sign-up page, when we created and wrote the sign-up page, there's something about the way we wrote that landing page that is so aligned with who we are as people.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like, let me use ChatGPT to create a landing page that will convert. You know, it's not that, which I feel sometimes we're so obsessed over. How do we make something high conversion, high efficiency? But there's something so powerful about writing from your unique voice and your heart.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do so, you attract maybe lesser people, but the quality ones. So you filter out less.
Yeah, like literally there were 2 or 3 person that signed up on that day itself because they came across your event space, right?
Yeah.
It's not even like they knew you.
Yeah.
But like, let's talk about the fact that you had 2 fans that flew 2.5 hours to meet you here.
True.
Yeah, that was so cool. Okay, so just like what Rae said with the landing page, so how we promoted it was one through like Luma page. And then for me, I was like, maybe I'll send some emails to my email community, even though I was kind of doubtful of like, would anyone want to like show up? But I was like, I've got nothing to lose. Let me just let them know I'm here and see what happens. Like I'm open to seeing what happens. And to be honest, like before this, for about 2 years, I was like writing pretty consistently to my email community, and it started growing, started building. And I would try my best to really share from my heart and really just have my humanity out there. And really be in alignment with what I was sharing. And I remember one of the girls who actually flew over, she did say, like she mentioned that one of the reasons why she wanted to come was because she felt a lot of healing energy when she was reading my emails during the phase that she ended her long-term relationship, which was around the time I ended mine, and I started to share a little bit about that. And so it just was a big, powerful like reminder and a stamp of like, keep going when I heard that, because I'm like, okay, keep doing what you're doing, Nicole. Like, that's so important. And now I'm like telling everyone, just keep really authentically sharing yourself from your heart.
Yeah, but I feel like you are a good blend of being authentic and being strategic as well. Because that's, I mean, technically, in order to grow your business, like a coaching business or your brand on YouTube, right, you still need to know what the algorithm is pushing, what people are searching for, and like what will entice them to click on the thumbnails on YouTube. Like, you need to have a good blend of both. But I think it's because you come with the right intention. You come with the right heart on like why you are doing these things. That's why you attract the right people.
Yeah, thank you. Well, it's always like a practice to blend the intuition, but also like the practical strategy of like what do people actually want, what do they need with what I want. We talked about this.
Yes,
so.
we literally were just having a conversation about this. Like, as a creative entrepreneur, being able to balance intuition and strategy, and like not being afraid to hear the truth from your audience.
Yes.
Anyway, how this came about was basically I was telling Nicole about this person, this client of mine who, well, actually not really client, this person that I'm speaking to.
Okay.
Like, I'm just like looking at this person's content and it's so artistically beautiful and artistically driven. But internally, I felt so frustrated because I feel like it is not selling this person's service at all. So I feel like it's not converting. And I mean, I know this person personally. And I mean, we've talked about it before, and this person isn't like applying the tips that I've given this person. And that's why it's just like not working in my opinion. And I call this like the artist or the performer's trap.
Yes, I know.
Where, you know what I mean, right? Like they have this vision of their art and they feel like nobody will get it because it's so unique.
Yes.
And so they put it out there and nobody gets it because they're not willing to hear the response from their audience. So they already write thinking nobody will get it.
Yeah.
So they don't try to speak in the language that their audience receives the message.
Yes.
So I think that balancing it is so important. I mean, I'm a communications coach after all, right?
Yeah.
Like there's the importance of writing from your heart and intuition, but also understanding the way that your audience think and how they describe their pain and their desires, and then writing so that it lands on them and they actually can swallow it and take it whole.
And I think that's also a big problem with why I see a lot of people, I don't like to use the term fail, but a lot of people don't see quote unquote success or like results over time, because you've also got to be able to be open to making mistakes and failing and like try something different, fail. And I'm sure like all of us we've been on the internet for a while now. We have probably felt like we have failed so many times, made so many mistakes, and then we have pivoted, tried something else, done something different. And I think a lot of people are just so scared of doing that because of public humiliation. But I think maybe it is a cost, but I think in the long term, it's just long-term gain. And I think you need to have that if you want to change your identity.
Yes.
Like you have to be open to looking like you've failed and you've just fell flat on your face.
Yes.
And that is the perfect segue to this next part that I want to talk about, because we talked about how we have this shared belief in manifestation. And I feel like a lot of people, when they hear the word manifestation, it's like, oh, law of attraction. You think about this positive thoughts and your dreams and it's going to happen. But it's actually quite technical as well, right? I think the first part of it is to have a clear visualization of this identity that you want to step into.
Yes.
Right? And I'm quite curious to hear about what was the vision that you both had when you first started in your journey.
Oh gosh, journey feels like so long ago, honestly. I mean, when I first started, maybe like when I was 15, when I started emceeing for the first time, I don't think I had a vision because I was pretty much driven by fear, lack, and scarcity, which I feel that everybody at some point would be driven by that.
Yes.
Right? Maybe when you're younger.
Yeah.
So I was driven by that at the beginning. And I'm glad that I had that sense of fear, lack, and scarcity that driven me at the beginning. Otherwise, I would have just stayed where I was. So I was hosting events. I was putting myself out there. I had no choice because I didn't do well in school. And little Rae just wanted to find a place that she can shine. She just wanted to find something that she was good at to feel valuable.
Yeah.
So I started off that way. But at some point, I think the first time that I found the importance of having a vision was when I met my first coach and mentor in my second year of uni.
Okay.
And he introduced us, he introduced all of us to the idea of a vision. And I've never really heard that word before. I'm like, vision? What does that even mean?
Yeah.
Right? And if you take a look at the word vision, it's basically having clarity of exactly what you want.
Yes.
Like in simplified terms. And that shook me because from when I was 22 then, before I was 22, I never even asked myself what I wanted for myself. I was just chasing something that I thought I wanted, but wasn't actually what I wanted. So I thought I wanted a good job. I thought I wanted to do well in school and that's it, but I didn't ask myself, why do you want that? And having that clarity of vision was something that I really only started doing when I was 22, when my mentor shared with us the importance of that, which now looking back, made me realize that I think that someone's success and the alignment of someone's success is very much related to how truthful they're willing to be with themselves. Yeah.
Nice. So what was the vision back then?
Back then, I just wanted to create a life of freedom. I was very clear of the emotion I wanted to feel, but not very clear of the steps to get there, which I feel is normal.
Yes.
So I knew at that point in time that I want to do the work that I love, be surrounded with people that I love, and work from anywhere I want. So freedom in the kind of work I do, the people I work with, and the place that I'm at. These three things is what success is to me.
Yes.
So I know that this was an idea of what that vision would look like, but I had no idea how to get there, right? But allowing myself to experience that in slices, like in 1%, was the most important part. If I knew I wanted these three things, okay, doing work that I love. I didn't know what was work that I love back then, but I just asked myself, okay, looking back in the past couple of months, what are some things that I've done that I love? And then I kind of drill it down. Okay, these are the things. What exactly about these things? Because I like working with people. I love using my voice. Okay, I'm getting clearer a little bit now, right? What do I mean by people I love? Okay, looking back in the past couple of months, who are the kind of people that I love hanging around? I actually wrote down the names of those people and asked myself, what do I like about these people, right? So that was my road to clarity. And clarity is not a defining moment. It really isn't.
Yeah.
It is a lot of marination, a lot of sitting down, a lot of just allowing yourself space and allow yourself to observe what you have already experienced. And I feel like clarity comes over time as you take action.
Yeah.
1%, 1%, 1%.
Yeah, I think you allowed yourself to be curious and to have that space to think about it, which a lot of people don't do because generally growing up, that's not what you learn in school. Like we were just taught to complete our assignments and score well in exams, right? But we were never taught to like really connect with ourselves and spend time with ourselves when our biggest asset is really our brain. And there's like 95% of our brain that's never fully utilized. And we are not even using that 5% well if we don't allow ourselves to think and to be curious about things, right?
Yeah. Actually, now that you guys are saying this, okay, so actually a little different, but we also have similar stories. When I was young, and just like what you were saying, that we have to allow ourselves this time and space to think. When I was like really young, I was first gifted a journal at like the second grade. I don't know. I think that was like 7 years old. And since then I was like, okay, I'm going to like write a little bit every day about how I feel and all that. And over the years, I started to really take the time to journal and write. And I was also this really shy, introverted person. And so I loved writing. I loved journaling my thoughts. And so I was pretty in touch with how I was feeling at the time. And at the time, I wasn't in a great headspace, but I remember like one thing that came to me at that time when I was about 12 years old was I just had this vision where I said to myself, if I can change my person or like who I am as a person, as a human being, my identity, which was a shy, quiet Asian girl back then, I was like, then I can do the same for other women. And that was kind of like the vision I had. And just like you said, right, I didn't know how to get there. I didn't know what that would really look like, but I just had this intuition, like that was my thing. And over the years, although I kept up with the corporate world, with following the footsteps of what society wanted us to do, I still had that inkling. And, eventually I started to take those action, those little steps. And over time, I've gotten a lot clearer with where I want to be. But even till today, like I'm 30 this year, I can still confidently say like, that is my vision. And I believe it will still be my vision for like the decades to come with like the kind of work I want to do and like how I want to serve.
Wow. I just want to say, right, Rae, when you said that the vision that you had back then is to have freedom, is to do work that you love, and it's to work with people that you love, I feel like you really manifested it already. Like you are already there.
Manifested that.
It's crazy. And it's nice that like for you, Nicole, like the vision, it's still the same and it's still there as well. For me, it's a bit different because I felt like my vision changed a bit, but it's also through learning. Like, so initially when I got into the coaching space, it's because that I had this vision of seeing myself as a speaker on stage. And that's how I got into the coaching industry and how I ended up landing a job in the seminar industry, because I had this vision of myself being a speaker, but I didn't know how the industry worked. And I got into the industry wanting to build a network, wanting to know how do you monetize a career as a speaker. Right. And then that's how like I really understood the business model, like how there's a front end offer and the back end offer and there's a funnel and all that stuff. And the more I immersed myself into it, I'm like, okay, I had this vision of myself being a speaker, but I didn't know then that I didn't want speaking to be my main bread and butter. Like I didn't want to just sell myself as a speaker. I saw myself as a keynote speaker that is invited for specific topics. But I needed to get into industry, like just like you said, because you don't know what's the step yet.
Yeah.
But you still had to do something to figure that out.
Yeah.
Right? So I got into it and I realized like, okay, this is not exactly what I wanted, but I still learned something and I took something from it. And from that journey, because I had a burnout experience as well. And then from there, I thought deeper into like how do I want to feel in this vision that I have. And it's a lot of like, feeling free, feeling like I'm able to creatively express myself. Because I think I've just been someone that has always enjoyed expressing my thoughts, sharing about the things that I learn. And I've just always been a self-help junkie since I was in university. And my blog, since I was in high school, I had a lifestyle blog for 10 years, by the way. And it started off as like a high schooler's like public journal entry talking about life. But eventually, as I got into university, when I got really deep into self-help content and I read a lot about it, I share a lot about it. I talk about how I set my New Year's resolutions and how I build habits and stuff. Like it has been there since in my early 20s when I was in university. But then like because I was trying to figure all these things out, I tested all these different things, but it came back to this vision of myself doing something where I can creatively express myself and to live a life that is a lot lighter and freer. Because I think I bought into the idea that I wanted to be a 7-figure entrepreneur, 8-figure entrepreneur and build a team and I want to scale big. Like that's the dream that a lot of us are being sold. And I think sometimes it's okay that like, because that's what everyone is going for, you thought that that is something that you needed or you wanted as well.
Yeah.
But as you move forward in your journey, that's when you realize like, okay, like this is not exactly what I want. And it's okay. I think that's the part that you were talking about how people are so afraid of failing and then they don't even try. But I'm so glad that like I spent my last decade just testing so many different things to kind of get to a point where I have a lot more clarity of what I want. That even though it's still not fully formed yet, it's still not the final product, but I'm getting so much closer than where I was before I even started.
Yes. And I see that the commonality amongst all of us is we started anyway.
Yes.
Even if we're not fully clear.
Yeah.
It is impossible to get 100% clarity before you take action, which is why I think it's ridiculous that we pressure people to choose their major when they're like 16 or 18, you know, because we'll probably all agree that when you get into a job, you realize, oh, everything that I studied, it's not exactly, you know, I need to learn real world skills.
Yeah.
Like the job is not like what I studied in school, right? So you have to get into it before you realize what the real deal is about, just like you got into it. And similarly, I also felt I had an idea of the kind of speaker I want to be. So I joined like Speakers Association, you know, I joined for 4 years. I met so many different mentors who are much older than me, I mean like 50, 60 years old, and they have spoken professionally longer than we've lived. And they've built their business, a very successful business at that from that. And I thought that this was the only way a speaker can make money, like this idea of like being paid by corporates to speak. So when I tried to go into the corporate speaking route, I felt very dejected that, well, not really super dejected, but I was kind of questioning, why are doors not opening? Like, I built a LinkedIn presence. I have 15,000 followers on LinkedIn. I've had some corporate gigs here and there, but it just feels like no matter how hard I try, like the doors aren't opening, right? And so I was just like troubled. And then, I was sharing with people about my dream of like having my own talk show, wanting to be Asian Oprah. And then a couple of people just said, why don't you just start with the resources you have? Like, you want a talk show? There's podcasts that you can do. Last time in those ages, the speakers that we know of that speak on stages, they don't have access to tools like that.
Yes.
Right? Because there was a lot more in-person speaking, right? So there's no podcasting or like YouTube and social media, all that. They needed to send actual portfolio decks in the past. I mean, there wasn't really much social media. So my friends were just saying, why not use this opportunity right now? And I was like, I never thought of speaking that way.
Yeah.
Maybe my idea of what a professional speaker is very outdated.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm like, interesting. And so I kept my vision open. Like the vision is led by the emotion I want to feel, which is the feeling of empowerment and flow when I speak and use my voice. But I let go of that fixed idea I have on how a speaker should look like or how an entrepreneur should be. And that allowed me to have serendipitous moments happens, like me attending an event in 2022 and then meeting the director of this particular space, her link me up with the creative director, and that made my talk show in 2023 happen, where I got to have my own live in-person talk show for an entire year and fulfill my dream of being Asian Oprah, being able to speak in that capacity, which is way cooler than any keynote speaking I've ever done.
It really was very cool. I remember scrolling through your socials and I was like, wow, I've not seen that before.
Yeah, it's Singapore's first in-person talk show.
Yeah.
Right? And if I held really like tightly to my idea of how a legit speaker should be, I would never have allowed or manifested that.
Yeah.
Right? So when we talk about manifestation, a lot of people talk about you need to be really clear. You need to have the exact number of how much you want to manifest. I mean, personally, it doesn't work for me that way because I find it's very pressurizing to need clarity before I'm manifesting right. I allow myself to have an idea of how that feels like, and then I kind of just follow the emotion and follow my intuition. And that has helped me in manifesting the life I have today.
Yeah. And what I'm hearing is also like hold the vision, that like the overall vision and how you feel. One thing I want to add is it sounds like we're all still on our journey of like on our vision. You just started your world tour, right?
World tour.
From Singapore, now Malaysia. And Wendy, you said that you're still, even though you don't have the final product, but you have changed so much, diverged so much from like the seminars, the speaking. And even for myself, like I feel like I've diverged so much from the traditional 9-to-5 life and all of that. And I think we can all say we're feeling pieces of that vision like deeply within us every single day, where we are feeling the freedom, we are feeling like we're purposeful. And I think I want to remind people that you might not get the vision in the next year, like the final vision or whatever that might look like, but even taking these steps can really help you immerse into that feeling. Like I can wake up and say, this is at least what I know I want to do. And I'm being who I want to be, and I'm showing up in the way I want to show up. So just don't be afraid to just take that step and experiment. You don't know what could happen, but I guarantee you will tap into those emotions. And that is what's going to guide you further.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. That's such a nice reminder for all of us.
Yeah. Do it anyway. There's going to be risk. Anything worth creating has risk.
Yes, it has risk. And like, even though I feel like our conversation made it all sound so easy, the reality is it's not. And I was just telling my husband Kevin yesterday that like I felt like I'm finally embodying that business owner self that I've always wanted to. And it's in a very ironic way because like I've always said that I want to build my business with ease, with a lot of alignment. But the truth is, being a business owner comes with its own set of pressure with like revenue and like business targets and all that, right? Because ultimately you need the money to grow the business, to grow yourself, to even take care of yourself. But it has come to a point where like, even though every night by 1 2 a.m. my brain is still wide awake thinking about the business, I'm like, oh, I'm so glad that I get to be stressed out about my own business and my own vision and my own dream. Because I've always just been a go-getter, that even when I was employed in my previous companies, like when I believe in my boss's vision, I go all in with my boss, and I would stay up late till 1 2 a.m. thinking about that business that I was working on. But now I'm like, at least this thing that I'm stressing about, it's my own.
Yeah.
Like, even though it's honestly, it's not even easier, it's a lot harder. But when it is in alignment, when it is for yourself, when it aligns with your purpose, it just feels so much easier in a different sense, easier on your heart. That even though it's harder, like all over. And I'm sure you girls can agree to it. And I kind of want to talk more about like the ugly side. Like the not so beautifully painted side of things, like that kind of get you to where you are now. Like, were there any moments that you felt like you wanted to give up?
So many.
I'm sure.
Nicole, you thought
Let me
something
think
already.
about it. Okay.
I'm gonna let you both think about it.
So I can give an example. With my YouTube channel, I have over 20,000 subscribers right now. I mean, I'm not like a top huge
Girl,
YouTuber.
20,000 is still a lot.
I know, but I still think about that. I'm like, wait, this is really cool. Like, my younger version would be like, holy crap. But I remember like the time, like when I decided I was gonna do YouTube, I was scared like shitless. I was like, oh my god, like. And this was one of the projects where it was a big dream of mine. So I was like, if I were to launch this, I'm going to go big or go home. Like, I'm either going to not do it, or I'm going to full out tell everyone I'm doing this and gather as much as attention as I can and just really build this thing proper from the ground up. And so it was really scary, because then I knew I would have to leave my old identity into a new identity of being a YouTuber, which was always my dream. And I remember after I posted my first video, I shared across all my social medias, like my Facebook, my personal Instagram and all that. And I realized that a lot of people started to feel different around me. Like, I actually lost a lot of friends, or not a lot, but I lost a group of friends. So like my quote unquote party friends at that time, because who knows, like they probably didn't think it was quote unquote cool. And that was something I had to like overcome. And they were actually one of the reasons why I was really scared to show up, because I was just afraid of like how people would see me. And I felt really uncomfortable that people might potentially leave me because I wasn't the version of Nicole they wanted to fit their perception, their own worldview. So that's one example. There are so many ugly moments on the journey.
So you did lose your friends.
I lost some friends, but they weren't like the super close friends.
Exactly,
anyway.
yeah. You will lose those people that just doesn't align with where you want to go anyway, and it's okay. Yeah. And you won't be surprised, like maybe sometime down the road, that when they are also headed to this direction, your paths may align again and be like, hey, actually, I'm also doing this. Like, you really inspired me to do it. Like, you never know. Sometimes people feel uncomfortable with our growth because we are doing the things that they are afraid to do.
Yes.
100%.
And then you're like revealing their truth with that there's bubbling within
Something
them,
within
but they're
them.
afraid to like meet that truth.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. And,
So
I
they'd
love
rather
that.
avoid you.
Yeah.
They're just
Yes,
like, "Ew."
exactly.
And I love the reframes that you shared, because those were actually the things I jotted in my journal. Like, I had to ask myself, wait, what if these people actually were cheering me on? What if they actually secretly admired me and they weren't judging me? Like, I had to really shift my thoughts. Like, wait, in the future, they might come to my video and said, oh, Nicole quit her job. I remember that video. Hey, how did she do it? I actually want out. And so this process of changing your identity, of changing your life, it's really scary, and you've got to question those doubts. You have to question them and shift and think bigger picture. I think that's something we have probably gotten really good with as entrepreneurs, like always questioning, coming at a problem from all these different angles. And we have to practice doing that with our limiting thoughts too and beliefs.
Yeah.
I think that the hardest part about pursuing a path that not many people do is, for me, sometimes it can feel like I'm the only one that believes in my dream. I'm the only one that sees my vision.
Yeah.
I'm the only one that is in it, in the game, right? And yes, right, I've so many like amazing close friends, but the reality is that like I'm working alone for now. I mean, basically, like I'm the one with the skin in the game for myself. And I remember this very distinct moment 3-4 years ago. It was when I think it was like the week when I broke up with that boyfriend of mine.
Okay.
And basically we broke up because I'm such a workaholic. And he's an amazing guy, okay? This guy, he probably is like Prince Charming out of a novel. Like he would drive 40 minutes to pick me up from work, send me home at the other end of Singapore, and then go home again. Like, you know, just the most amazing gentleman. And he knows that I really care about my work. So a lot of our dates would be like working dates. But I know it's so bad. Like we go out and date one time a week and it's to work.
By the way, I have co-worked with Rae so many times during this KL trip, and I'm like, damn, this girl's really into her work. Like I can't get anything through her. So I feel for that ex-boyfriend.
Yeah, it's not like the cute, okay, our toes touch. No, I'm like locked in, bro.
Yeah, she is really.
Yeah, it's like you totally don't even like see me. But, so he's such a sweet guy, and he, you know, I met his family, he's met my family, and I could feel that for him, it was a mutual breakup, but he really, really, really liked or might have even loved me. But he obviously realized that maybe I wasn't ready to be in a committed relationship, and he was looking for that, right?
Yeah.
Basically. So we broke up, and the day after, you know, it was at night, and I was just like in my space where I'm like questioning if that was the right move. And I had this moment where I thought, you know, I feel like nobody understands just how much weight it is on my shoulders, right? To have this vision, to have this dream, and feel like I need to sacrifice things. Like, it doesn't feel like a sacrifice, but it kind of does sometimes. Like, I don't know, it's this like conflicted feeling. And then on top of that, you know, knowing that my parents love me and care for me, but they also don't believe that I can do what I do.
No.
Like, and I've built such a beautiful relationship with my parents, right? They have become so understanding growing up. Like, my relationship with them when I was 15 versus now, worlds apart, right? There was a point in time where I thought my parents didn't love me, and I would just avoid conversations with them, think that they don't understand me, refuse to talk to them. And now, you know, we have such a good relationship. But even so, feeling like they don't truly believe that I can be successful. And what's worse is there's always that little part of me that comes up sometimes, the inner critic. I go, hey, maybe they're right. You know, and it happens to everybody.
Yeah, it does.
It happens to everyone. And I feel like the toughest part about being an entrepreneur is recognizing that the inner critic is there and still being a biggest cheerleader, right? The defining moment for me as an entrepreneur was when I was 23 and I had my first tough conversation with my parents, right? At that point in time, I was deep in an MLM, basically. So that was the first entrepreneurial experience I have, and I was being stretched in many different ways. I was like selling water filters door to door. I was doing interviewing people to be part of my team, and needing to put up a little bit of that confident front, even though I still doubted myself. I needed to be legit so I can recruit people in my team. And I was just dealing with a lot of the identity shifts of being a first-time entrepreneur. And on top of that, knowing that my parents were against what I did. And at that point in time, I was already having a tense relationship with my parents because I didn't want to tell them what I was up to, because I was worried that they would question me and debate me about it, and I wouldn't have anything to back myself up. Because I didn't know if this business would be successful. And if they asked me for my plan, I don't have a plan.
Yeah.
So the fear is like, if I don't have a plan, how can I stand up for myself, because I'm afraid I can't. So I was resisting talking to them for so long. And there was this upcoming conference that my team was going to go in Malaysia. And I remember telling my mentor, lying to my mentor actually, saying, oh, I can't make it because my parents don't allow me to go. But actually, I haven't even talked to my parents. I just didn't bother to say. I just know that they would disagree. And then a good friend of mine said, Rae, you know, if you can't even tell your parents about your business and stand up for yourself, how would you ever advocate for yourself outside of your loved ones, like to your clients, to people in future, not just for this business, but in life? If you can't even have a tough conversation with your parents, how will you talk to future clients and collaborators?
So true.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh shit, that's so true. Like, if I can't even tell my parents about my business
Yeah.
and be thick-skinned for that, like, how can I advocate for myself for people who don't even have who are
Yeah.
not even related to me, right?
Yeah.
So I decided that day, you know what, I have to have this tough conversation. So I sat my parents down and I shared with them about this business of mine and why I was exploring it, even though I was still in uni. I wanted to hear what their concerns were. And my dad shared his concerns, my mom shared her concerns, and that, of course, was not settled on one day. We had so many rounds of like tough conversations after that. But slowly, my dad went from having the mindset of I'm the dad, you should listen to me, and shifted to actually being open to hearing what I have to say.
It's good.
Right? And they used to like call me at 11 p.m. to like badger me of where I am. But slowly, they started being more open. My dad would drive beside me as I sell water filters door to door because he was afraid I'll get kidnapped.
Oh.
My mom will invite her friends to my product opening even though she hates sales.
Wow.
Yeah, she hates sales, okay? But
Oh
she'll
my
invite her
God.
cell members
Yeah.
and then like sell my products for me because she was so passionate about supporting me. And my dad would give flyers door to door with me at the HDB block, you know. And they started opening up, like, you know, they showed their support through their actions. Yeah. Which is worlds apart because they already didn't support this business, but they supported me.
Yeah.
Maybe not the business or the idea, but they just wanted to support me in their little way.
Yeah.
So that was just so beautiful, right? And then I told myself, okay, one day I want them to come to a speaking gig of mine and like have front row seats. And it happened in 2023, you know, I invited them to my talk show and they didn't take front row seats because they're shy, but they were at the back. And,
Shout out to them.
and I did shout out to them exactly, and everybody looked behind. And then my dad was like behind his mask because during COVID-ish, right? He was just like being safe. And he was like, oh my gosh, nobody prepped me for everyone looking at me. But that was a beautiful moment. And I wouldn't have such a deep relationship with my family now if I didn't have that first tough conversation, you know, with my dad. So I think that being an entrepreneur not only has helped me just like take control of my business, but like deepen my relationship and become a more mature person in life, I feel.
Yeah, I feel like getting into the entrepreneurship journey really forces you to grow up so quick.
Yes, that's so
Yeah,
true.
it's like a crash course in life.
So true.
Like life, not just about how you live your life, but also even how you manage money, how you manage your health. Because if you don't take care of your health, like this body is literally the vessel that allow you to do your work. So like actually health and wellness is such an important thing.
I know both of you girls are super health and wellness girlies, so you guys got to talk more about that. Like the importance of our state of being.
Yes.
Yeah.
Before
like
we
that's
go
something
there,
to
actually, I
talk
want to add one more thing to like the conversation about the ugly side of
Yes,
entrepreneurship.
yes, the ugly side. And you both have to share the ugly side too, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, I think about this because there's so many people who might be looking at us and they're like, wow, how do they get to be full-time entrepreneurs and not have to work a job? And I have to like tell people, it's not like what you think. It's not like I wake up and I'm like, wow, like everything is perfect and beautiful. Like literally there was a phase, just like what you said, like waking up at 1 to 2 a.m. There was almost a year where I had insomnia because I was so scared of like how the finances was going to work. I had to move back home. So I lived back with my family and I was back under my mom's care for about a year and a bit. And then I also had to take on a new job after a while because I couldn't stop thinking about the finances piece. And I was comparing myself to a lot of my friends who were working like 6-figure jobs and they were like getting promoted. And during that time, it was really ugly. Like I didn't feel good internally. Like literally my body was literally sending me signals that I felt so scared. That's why I was like up at night and I never got really good sleep for some time. And there were months, even as like a full-time entrepreneur, where I would have $0 like coming in, and I would just have to find a way. Like I literally did so many little things. Like I would teach first aid CPR, and then I would also do private tutoring. And
Did not know that.
yeah,
I didn't
they
know
were-
about the first aid CPR. That's interesting.
Yeah, I did those things because I had to do that to bring in the income. And I was also privileged because I was living with my mom and she didn't charge me at all and she would cook the food. And then after a while, I was also living with my ex, right? And he was open to like paying the rent.
Yeah.
And I would cover like smaller ticket items. And so for the people who want to chase like a vision, maybe it sounds big, you don't have to like quit everything, drop everything and go straight into it.
Yes.
Really assess your situation because so many people say, oh, I quit and I just went full on without a plan B. And some people can't afford to do that.
Yeah.
Like the people you see who have actually done that, there are privileges you just don't see behind the scenes.
Yes.
And so, and even though I had those privileges, a lot of privilege, I still had to experience like the ugly side of like feeling anxiety and having to go through like, oh, I didn't make money. Oh, what does this mean for the future and all that. So I think that's one side I just want to be really real about.
Yeah. I mean, I'm literally going through this phase right now. Like, I quit my job about 4 to 5 months ago, and I'm going through the motions. Like, I quit without knowing how things are going to work out. Like, as much as I have the vision, I know that's the plan, but there's all these things to be thinking about. And like, I'm lucky in a sense that the people around me, like my parents and my partner, are really, really supportive. If anything, I feel like they are more supportive of me than my inner critic.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You need
yeah.
those people.
Yeah, I'm very, very
Awesome.
blessed in that way. But also like really assessing my finances and be like, okay, can I afford to do this full time? Do I need to take on a part-time gig? Like there's always these questions. And I think at the early stages of it, there was a bit of shame. I'm like, why am I not able to just catch up and just do it? But I think if you're not able to take care of yourself, like those moments where you wake up in the middle of the night feeling anxious, having insomnia, like if you're not even able to take care of yourself to feel safe, like whether it's just physically or even financially, then how are you able to run a business that is gonna do well, right? I had this connection that he's like a finance consultant, like a very smart guy who manages like 8-figure, 9-figure, like big corporate finances. Like big companies bring him in to consolidate stuff and all that. And he himself got into this stage where he was in 8-figure debt for his business. And he managed to come out of it, right? And rebuild his finance. He's still in the process of it. And because he coaches a lot of business owners about finances now, based on what he's learned in his own journey and like consulting other businesses, and something that he shared with me really stuck to me. And it's that like there are a lot of entrepreneurs who invest in many things and they will come to him and be like, okay, is this a good investment? How should I be managing my finance around this? And his tip is very simple. Like if you are not even able to manage your personal finance well, how are you gonna be managing a business finance well?
Yeah.
It's
100%.
really as simple as that. Like, and I feel like with a lot of people, when it comes to money, there is a lot of root issues that are not solved yet. And it could be because of your upbringing. It could be because of the environment that you grew up in and the people that you surround yourself with wrong values in money, right? There may be people who like really get into credit card debt just to get luxury goods. Like there are a lot of people out there with the wrong influence, right? And if you continue to stick in that circle, that's what you learn. That's what you know. Coming back to like what you said about the artistic people at the start, right? You can be a creative, but if you want to make creative your career, then you have to be practical with the money side as well. You can't just say that this is my art that no one understands and not work on the business element, because ultimately you need to be able to show people the value that you can bring in exchange for the money that you receive.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I think that being an entrepreneur is not spending too much time in the problem and to be able to take a step back and look at the bigger picture.
Yeah.
I feel like very often the artists or the people will be like, so they're too emotionally attached to the problem itself that they're unable to take a step back and go, okay, what's this problem trying to tell me? Like, what is the lesson here, right? Or they're too attached to that rejection or that failure or that feedback that they are unable to take a step back and go like, okay, why is this happening? What is it trying to teach me? And I think that the difference between someone with an entrepreneurial spirit and someone that does not is the willingness to be uncomfortable, the willingness to feel fear, doubt, insecurity, and yet still work towards their vision, still work towards creating what they want.
It's beautifully said. Okay, so I feel like I'm really enjoying this conversation, by the way.
I love podcast conversations because I feel like we have had so many conversations over drinks, over coffee, but when we're on a podcast, it's just like deeper to another level, right?
Yeah. And also
then we get to share with other people too.
And the fact that you both are creators, I feel like you both also know when to share, when to stop sharing, and when to link it. I feel like we flowed so well doing this. But anyways, I want to kind of get into this where the fact that if you want change, if you want growth, you need to step into the identity of this person, right? And sometimes the identity of this person that you want to be is very different from where you are right now. And I kind of want to ask Nicole, like you said that you were a very shy, introverted girl, right? Like what did you do to help you transform?
So just to paint a picture of like how like painfully shy I was back then, I would be so scared to even like raise my hand. Like I would be like so scared for attendance, like every class or like in the school bus, because I'm like, darn, they're gonna call my name. And I was so quiet. Like every time I said here, that my friend had to like raise her hand and just say, Nicole's here. There was just so many moments. I don't know why, but my life, just my childhood was driven by a lot of fear, and I was just too scared to do anything. And I was very self-aware of that. Like I would journal that down and be like, yeah, I'm aware. And you know, at a certain point, I was so angry. You could see like my writing. I was so mad. I even felt shame towards myself, and I felt angry at myself. I was like, why are you like this? And I did have the intention though that I was like, I believe change is possible. And it was definitely a series of like over time, just taking little steps, just like you said, like 1%, a little bit outside of my comfort zone, do this, do that. And that helped me so much. Like I took little steps with, okay, going to this new class, becoming eventually a piano teacher, teaching people something, and then just making one new friend at a time, and then moving across the country to go to business school. And like each thing really helped me grow a lot more, to the point that just a few years ago, I finally started my YouTube business, where I finally put myself out online and allowed myself to be seen by, you know, like hundreds of thousands of people. And I think that one of the biggest things is you gotta question the thoughts you have and the beliefs, because of a lot of it is also conditioning from society. I always thought, oh, because I'm Asian, like I lived in Canada and there's a ton of like Asians are a minority there. And so I was...
At least in Edmonton.
Yeah.
I was in Vancouver and it's all Asian, man.
Yeah, Vancouver is like another China. Like that's true. I wasn't fortunate enough to like live there, but like my experience also helped me a lot, because I always felt like people looked at me and they were like, oh, she's just this timid, submissive girl, and then they would treat me a certain way, and I would cave into that because I'm like, oh, you're already treating me like I am that. So I always thought, oh, I'm naturally like that, and I'm supposed to be a quiet girl, which, you know, like once I get comfortable with someone, like Rae knows, like I'm not really like that, but I really had to ask myself, am I really like that? Like, and question the beliefs, because in society, just like society, we've all been conditioned to probably think we have to go to school, get really good marks, go to university, get a job, get a mortgage, get married by 30, build a family. Like all these thoughts, we have to question them.
Yeah.
And I think for me, I had to question a lot of these things and dare to dream and dare to believe that something bigger and better was on the other side, and dare to take even little steps. Yeah, it's not like a one thing, like snap of finger kind of transformation. It has to take time for your body, for your mind, everything to align and to adjust to a new identity step by step.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is dare to dream and dare to take the baby steps.
Yes.
Yeah.
And questioning your thoughts and your beliefs.
Yes.
Yeah. I find that, as human beings, our brains are so biased and we tend to think very negatively and remember the negative thoughts. I think probably because in the news, it's mainly highlighting all negative stuff.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So we're already primed to like worry and to think about all the possible things that could happen in the future. And for me, and I feel like probably for all of us, our practice is how can we feed our brain the positive ones? How can we look at possibility instead of uncertainty?
Yes.
So that we can give ourselves the evidence that it is possible. I believe that we have, each and every one of us have a unique dream for a reason. Like, we're placed on this earth not to just like bump around and hit on walls. Like, we're here for a reason, right? If we have no purpose, you have been dead. Like, literally, right? If you have no purpose, you would die. So there's a reason why you're here on earth, for a purpose. And so knowing that you have a purpose, ask yourself, okay, despite all this fear and doubts, what is my dream? What is my desire? What are things I'm actually interested in? There's a reason why I'm interested in this. There's a reason why I'm placed in this particular country, in this particular space with these challenges.
Mm-hmm.
And if you believe you have a purpose, then you'll look at all of this and find a way to act in accordance with your purpose. And it starts by it just starts by leaning into your interests, leaning into your curiosity, accepting opportunities that you don't feel completely ready yet, but your heart is just saying, oh, you want this. That is taking the first step. Like, when I was in school, in the MC club, I was always getting jobs that in my head I'm thinking, I don't know if I can do this. Like, host a dance competition in front of 200, 300. Actually, I think it was more than that. Probably sure it was 1,000. It was a really huge auditorium.
Okay.
Like, can I really do this? But the excited part of me is, yes, you want to do this, right? So my strategy is just say yes.
Yeah.
You'll figure out later.
Yeah.
So I just say yes first.
Yeah.
I just say yes. And when I say yes and I do it, that is how I step into my identity, because I did it once and that is evidence to myself that I can do it. So then I'm slowly stepping into my identity by creating evidence for myself that I can do the thing that I think I could not do.
Wow. Yeah, I think that's what has gotten me so far as well. I just kept saying yes to all the things, all the opportunities that came my way. Yeah, and you just have to say yes and allow yourself to do it.
Yeah.
I feel like, especially as women, like I've read this statistic somewhere that like women only apply for jobs when they're like 90% confident that they're qualified, but guys apply when they're like 50%. So I feel like that's a reminder for like the ladies who are listening as well, that like sometimes you just gotta believe, you just gotta say yes first and just figure it out along the way.
Yeah.
And know that you're supported.
Yes.
Right? Know that there are people around you that will help you. Know that you have internal resources and you have external resources. Internal resources is your ability to lean on your beliefs, philosophies, your thoughts, your perspectives, your unique being. And external resources are the community that you're around, the ability to use the internet to research stuff. There's so many resources out there you can lean on to do the job.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I think we are very lucky that we live in a day and age where like technology is really making things so easier for us.
Yeah.
Like imagine when we started our journey, there's no AI. And then now AI is around. You could have done so much work for you now.
Yes. And on top of AI and tech, just allow yourself to enjoy the coincidences of life.
Yeah.
Like, how did we all become friends? Like, can we sit down and plot the lines of exactly? No. You know, when I was 5 years ago, I would not have thought I would be able to go to KL, host 3 events and do it with a friend of mine who lives in Canada and be on a podcast that's KL based. Like, no, right?
Yeah.
And there's these coincidences that just happen in life, and let's just enjoy the coincidences.
Yeah.
Like, right?
Let's hold the vision, tap into the emotions, and manifest.
That's what manifestation is. Yeah, it's allowing surrender. Like, control what you can and surrender the rest.
Yes.
You're not God. You know, you are the main character of your life, but you're not the director of this universe. And being the main character of your life is honing in on your thoughts, your beliefs, your perspectives, and doing what you're meant to do to align with your purpose. And God, the director, will just move the other chess pieces in place to make it happen for you.
Yes. It's also like the belief that like, you know why people always talk about lucky girl syndrome, right? As long as you always look at the positive side, you focus on a possibility instead of like the negative things that could happen, just surrender and trust that the best is going to happen for you.
Yeah.
Like I always believe that life happens for you and not to you. Yeah, and you have to be able to carry that thought even when the shittiest things is happening to you. And I feel like that's when you truly surrender.
Right.
Yeah.
And surrendering is such a hard topic sometimes. One way I like to look at it, I've heard of this and I was like, oh wow, this is such a great way to look at this, is you know how we go to the movie, we watch movies, we sit at the theater, we watch what's going on. We're just sitting here observing the movie and what's playing in front of us, right? We're not trying to be like, no, you have to go and do this. I mean, maybe sometimes, but for the most part, we don't, right? We're just letting things unfold. And what if we can apply that same relaxed energy towards our life? We do what we can.
Yeah.
We hold our vision, we control what we can, we align our energetic wavelength. But after that, what if we just allow what happens to just play out in real life? I think we'll also enjoy it a lot more, even through the challenges and struggles.
Yeah. I think that's true. That's kind of a thought that I've had maybe in the past 3 months, is that there was something really shitty happening to me, family-wise, right? Just a few months ago. And I remember thinking to myself that this is an event that is happening. And whatever it is that my family members were doing is what's happening to them, and it's their actions, it's their consequences based on their action, and it does not define who I am, or it does not affect my life directly. I can choose to just observe the event that is happening and just be, and just choose to react to it as calmly as I can and be like, yeah, it's happening. But the thing that I can control now is my emotions dealing with it.
Yeah.
And I chose to deal with it very nonchalantly.
Yeah.
You don't need to get too worked up about everything if it's beyond your control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautifully said.
Yeah.
Wow,
What comes to
ladies.
mind is we all have a dream, we all have a vision, we all have an idea of the kind of life we want. And we want that life because it's tagged to an emotion. The emotion could be peace, it could be freedom, it could be joy. What if we can just operate life embodying the emotion? So difficulties in your family happen. If let's say you want that feeling of liberty, how can I treat this situation through the lens of liberty? How can I embody liberty now? Right? So I mean, this is more for those of you who are listening, who's how can I move towards my dream when it's so far away? How can you embody the emotion you want to feel today?
Yeah.
And take action in accordance to that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Embody the emotion you would feel in that future, but today in your present body.
Yeah.
And that's how
things
you
will-
manifest.
And that's how you
Really.
manifest. Things will come
It's
together
true.
in your
Because
favor.
energetically you're aligned already. Yeah.
I have this one client who she basically is an Asian young woman leader in her industry that is very male dominated, very tech bro kind of vibe, right?
Okay.
So imagine she will enter networking events and most of the people there are white men.
Okay.
So there's sometimes there's that I wouldn't say fear, but naturally her body would remember all of the we'll go small, because that's just how we were conditioned growing up. And she was sharing this win with me recently, which is awesome. And essentially she was at this networking event and she knew she wanted to ask a question because that's how you get noticed and that's how you use your voice. But she felt that fear within her and she told herself, okay, I just need to muster up 3 seconds of bravery to raise my hand.
Yes.
And then I'll figure out what question I want to ask later.
Yeah.
So she raised her hand, 3 seconds of bravery, and then she saw the runner coming to her with the mic and she thought, oh my God, now I have to actually use my voice.
Yeah.
So she asked the question and she didn't ask it perfectly. And she said that ultimately, even though she didn't ask it perfectly, thankfully the panelists, they were very patient and she managed to share about her work and talk about the importance of her industry and actually get the answers from her panelists.
Wow.
And then that day itself, right, 2 clients that were at that event, 2 prospects that were at that event actually found her, recognized her voice and said, hey, I realized that you were the one asking the question. And then I know that we had a call previously and I really want to work with you now.
Wow.
Right? So basically she was really discussing with this particular prospect and this prospect was on the fence. And because that prospect heard her speak up, she's telling her, we got to find a way to work together. Can you send me an email? Let's make it happen. And this happened twice. So 2 people actually came to her.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
So that is the power of being bold. That's the power of like courage and taking action, right?
Yeah, and it goes back to the courage to take that small next step. It's really the next 3 seconds to raise your
Yes,
hand.
exactly.
That's what she focused on, and she
And
did that.
believing that your nervous system and your body would rise to the occasion.
Yeah. Say yes, figure it out later.
Yeah, it will figure it out. Let us
It will
challenge
work out.
ourselves.
Yeah, I really think that's how life is.
Our human spirit is actually more resilient than we think.
Yes.
Right? Like we all traveled before. Like we're probably in situations where things don't go according to plan. You're plopped in a country and maybe this thing is closed, that thing is closed, no money here, and you figure it out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
we're gonna figure it out anyway, and that applies in business as well, I feel.
That applies in nature in general. Like there's this can I say research, but how things work is like monkeys in the forest, right? There's always like the alpha gorilla. I believe it was monkeys they were saying, but they are the ones who like take care of what's going on, and they have the alpha female and whatever. But when that alpha male actually dies, so like all the other males are apparently beta male, so they're less aggressive or dominant,
monkeys.
masculine, right? But once that the alpha, the leader dies, when they die, what happens is one of them actually steps up and suddenly they become alpha, because like in that situation they just rise. And I believe that's us and with
so
humans too.
cool.
Like
Yeah.
you can do that.
Yeah, like if you're being thrown into like deep shit, right? You are forced to
Say
step
yes.
up and it will all work out. Like us humans are the most adaptable. Yeah, and I think you just need to believe it.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much, ladies, for this conversation.
Great.
I really enjoyed this.
Yes, we're close to the end.
I know. Like any last messages?
I feel we should give some practical tips. I don't know. Is that necessary or not necessary?
Oh my
the
God,
coach
I
in me is like, do we give like 3
I
practical
felt like
tips?
I feel like it was all very practical.
They're all actually, we give very
steps
practical
already.
tips, right?
Yeah, that's why I was like, initially I wanted to kind of like ask you more on tips to kind of like own your voice because you're a speaking coach, right? But I felt like the tip that you shared earlier and like the examples that you gave were already very good, like
Yeah, I think
learning
so.
moments about it.
For
already.
this particular topic lah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, so like, I mean, like, unless you guys want to get more technical, then you can ask your questions in the comment section or drop us a message so that I can invite maybe you both separately to talk about topics that you specialize on.
Yes.
Right.
Sounds awesome.
But we can go like last message if you want.
Yeah,
last
yeah.
tip.
So, like, any last message or like something that you felt like we didn't cover on this conversation?
I think my message is still going to be the same, which is like you can change your identity and you just really have to tap into that emotion and hold that vision. Doubt and fear, like all of that will come up, but you just embrace it as you feel it and you can still do the thing. Say yes and you'll figure it out.
Yeah. That's that.
Well, on the topic of identity, maybe something that wasn't covered is for the practical people out there who are listening to this and you're going, look, I want to use my voice, I want to manifest, but I am not old enough, not young enough, I am at this position in my company, there is red tape, how am I going to use my voice when there is like a hierarchy? You know, for those people listening to this thinking that, I think that the world is changing and the way we see expertise is shifting as well. In the olden days, in our parents' generation, you needed to get a certain degree or you needed to have a certain position in the company in order to speak up. But now I feel the Gen Zs are redefining things. Their voice is like, look, just because you have a position doesn't mean I'll respect you. You need to earn my respect. They don't actually say this, but I feel like that's what a lot of Gen
yes.
Zs
Give off that
say.
aura, right?
They give off the aura. So now the older people are like, oh, I have to learn how to communicate with the younger generation. It's no longer the position determines the level of respect you give me. So this is a great point in time for us underdogs. I mean, I think I'm an underdog. Like people who think I'm not good enough, I don't have the credentials. It's time for us to rise. Nowadays, people choose coaches and mentors and leaders not from credentials itself, but how they feel around the person energetically.
Yeah.
Right? It's how they feel around the person and not just how much money they make or how much experience they have. So if you're in a company and you're a rising leader or if you're a new entrepreneur, ask yourself, how are you already a leader? How are you already able to own your voice and your perspectives? And when you speak with a certain level of conviction, people will respect you.
Yes.
When you respect yourself and believe in yourself, people will also respect and believe in you. It all starts with how you see yourself.
Yes.
When you respect yourself, people will respect you.
Yeah. On that topic, right? I'll wrap up this episode with this lesson that I learned as well, is that there's been studies done asking people in companies like, what are the qualities of leaders that you respect, right? And then they put like sticky notes on the wall. And there's a part that's more like IQ focused, like maybe on the knowledge that the bosses have, the technical skill side of things. And then there's the EQ section of it. And the EQ section has like maybe 2/3 of all the responses, and 1/3 is like on the technical side of things. So people really look up to leaders that are very calm, very grounded, very understanding, who is able to show up under pressure and during times of crisis. Like the leaders that are able to lead with this groundedness is what people truly remember and respect. Yeah, and I think just having that in mind, like it doesn't have to be a leader in a company, in a professional setting. It's just being a good leader in life, even for yourself or for your family, right? Or for your friends. Like it can just be that, just learning how to stay grounded and be calm under pressure. Like just practicing your inner like Master Yoda or like your inner Dumbledore, right? Is enough to kind of really guide you through living life with a lot more confidence.
Oh, I love that you ended with a piece of research.
Yeah.
I read this piece of research that people perceive competence is actually more important than real competence. Yeah, they did a whole research about it, and then they got people to rate, and those who showed off more competence, meaning they're confident, right? They actually were respected and believed more than the people that actually had the degrees and actually was more competent. Yeah, so this shows.
So it's really about how you present yourself, whether in person or online as well. Thank you so much, ladies, for your time.
Oh, thanks so much for having this conversation with us in this cozy little space.
Yeah, it's so sweet.
I'm so glad that I got to host you girls. Let's wrap up this episode. So if you've been listening to the end, thank you so much for tuning in. You will be able to find Rae on Instagram.
And I'm also building my YouTube channel, so you can follow my journey.
Okay, yeah. And Nicole is also on Instagram and YouTube, right?
Yeah.
And newsletters as well. I'm going to include the links in the show note or the description box. So be sure to check out their work. I'm sure if you've liked this podcast, you probably would love the work that they're doing too, because our vibes are very, very similar. And be sure to give this episode a good thumbs up and share it with your friend if you think it's going to help them. And until then, I will see you in the next episode. Goodbye.
Small girl, big talk.
Yeah. Thank you so much for tuning in to Small Girl Big Talk, where real conversations meet personal growth. If you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to share this onto your Instagram stories so that we can reach and help more people in their personal growth journey. You can also support by hitting the follow or subscribe button or give it a 5-star rating at whatever platform it is that you are listening right now. I really appreciate you for staying all the way till the end, and I'll see you in my next episode. Goodbye.